All right, Surfer Ray here with NorCal Bees, and it's a beautiful winter day in California here in the Bay Area. And I'm getting ready to go through one of my yards where I overwinter my mini mating nukes. And we're going to be pulling these queens they're about 6 months old because we breed them later in the season, and so they're nice and young, and they've all overwintered. They're exploding right now with this beautiful weather we're having. We're going to pull them out and we're going to put them in these queen cages, and then we're going to go back to my house where I made a bunch of splits using my new 3-frame mating nukes that I use for that purpose, and we'll go over there and install them and get these nukes ready for sale. About a month earlier, maybe a month and a half earlier than most people will get them ready, because we're using these overwintered queens that we don't have to, wait for the weather to make queens. So anyway, let's check these things out and pull some queens. All right, you can see these girls are packing in the pollen. There's some white eucalyptus. There's a bunch of this yellow mustard type flower that's blooming all over the place. And these girls are packing them in. So far I've been seeing really good brood patterns, and these little mini mating nukes are just packed. So this is how I kind of configure them for winter. I stick 4 of them together, and that way they help each other stay warm. They're all under one lid, but separated. And like I said, we're gonna pull these queens out and get ready to put them in our nukes. It was overwintered here, and got a nice blue dot. She's doing a really good brood pattern. Nice tight brood pattern in there. And yeah, these mating nukes work so well because the bees overwinter really well. And there's just so much brood and everything going right now that I can easily split this up into 2 or 3, drop in a queen cell, and we're off and running. Instead of starting off with a cup of bees and some, if you're lucky, drawn out frames, I'm starting off with brood and larvae and honey and everything ready to rock and roll. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, look at these brood patterns. That is just solid. Man, that just excites me when I see stuff like that. Just gorgeous. Yeah. All right, all the girls are loaded up into the carry cell portable incubator, so they have a nice toasty ride home, and when we get home we'll drop them into our 3-frame nukes. All right, have a good ride home. All right, Surfer Ray here, and we're back at the house, and these are all the 3-frame splits I made yesterday. We're ready to drop into the queens now. One of the things I really like about these 3-frame nukes is that it takes a lot less resources than like using one of these 5-framers. Because even though it's 65 during the day right now, at night it's dropping into the low 40s, and the bees would have, I'd have to have a lot more bees to keep this warm at night, keep the brood warm, than I do in these 3-framers. So the way I generally like to stick these in, or set them up I should say, is the first frame I like to have pretty much an empty, drawn out brood comb. That way the queen will have a place to jump on and lay on. Next, I have a frame of cap brood. So this will give them a lot of young bees to be able to help to support this colony. And on the outside one, what I like to have is a frame of honey with some cap brood in the middle. A lot of times I'll use a whole frame of honey on one side with just a little patch of cap brood in the middle, but generally I want to have a good amount of honey in this frame on the outside. So that's the basic setup, how I like to set these up. Now we'll just drop in our queen. And this one will be good to go. I like to just use pollen sub. It just works real easy. I just get a patty and I just push these in it. Gives it just enough. So we'll drop this in. I'm sure these girls will be excited to see her. I really like these plastic cages instead of the wooden ones as well, because they just go in so much easier than trying to force those big wooden ones in. And so now they will release her in the next day or so, and she'll take over management. Next week I'll come back, make sure that she's laying and everything looks good. As long as there's a good amount of bees, which there should be, because all that brood will be hatched out by then, I'll drop in a couple more frames. Probably, one that's drawn out comb, and maybe one, if I want to sell it quicker, one more of honey. Otherwise, I'll do a couple more of just drawn out comb and let her lay it up. But that's how we do it. And we get these overwintered queens, with these nukes out a lot earlier than having to wait to try to, make queen cells and then make queens. I mean, right now I can make all sorts of queen cells, but having the weather to mate them is the key factor. So, that's what we're doing. We'll check back in a week or two, and we'll see how things look. Thanks for watching.